Ladies and gentlemen, meet the Acer Nitro 5. This 15.6-inch chassis, all plastic, features the i5 8300H, a GTX 1050 Ti, an NVMe drive from Intel is the 600p, 1500 to 500 read-write speed respectively. It also has a 48 watt-hour battery. Good luck getting 3 hours of battery life on it. Intel's newest 9560 Wi-Fi, which is fantastic, and all of this can be had from Best Buy for $799 or less. I have seen sales going all the way down to $730 and even one time at $679. This is a great laptop and it's a good contender against Lenovo's y530 as well as the DELL G3. And I do find bang for the buck, generally speaking, this comes out ahead just by a smidge. So let's go ahead and take a look at this right now. We've got a aluminum look lid here, which is not too bad. It has a little bit of a shine to it, and it is quite the fingerprint magnet, so beware. Over on the left-hand side, of course, you've got your LAN, a USB-C, HDMI out, USB, and a card reader. Of course, your lock as well. The card reader, beware, when a card is inserted into it, it sticks out a mile. So you're going to want to pull that out before sticking it into a tight bag. Over on the right-hand side, you've got your multi-purpose headphone microphone jack, 2 more USBs, and the barrel-style power plug, which features a 90-degree bend and a 135-watt brick. Does the job just fine, and there's no discharging at all under hours of gaming whatsoever. Now, the bottom, the accessibility on this is very, very nice. We do not need to remove the panel to have access to the RAM. We've got a single DIMM in here occupied, and that is a 8 gigabyte at 2666, which is excellent there, as well as an empty slot should you feel the need to fill it. And now over on this side, you've got your empty 2.5-inch bay. I like the accessibility on this, and it does not compromise the structural integrity of the chassis itself. And should you desire a repaste, go ahead and follow the link in the description below for a complete teardown on it. This is a pretty easy laptop to work on and an even easier one to upgrade. I do prefer this type of solution the best, and I like the way Acer did this today. The rubber feet across the bottom here are excellent, and by no means did I ever have any sort of slippage on any surface that I had put this on so far. Flipping the unit back over, it cannot be opened up with one hand. Inside you have your basic red LED keyboard. The keys themselves have excellent travel. You have to be just mildly heavy-handed for actuation, but by no means did they impair my ability to type. As a matter of fact, I quite liked it. Nice key travel, at least a good 1.4 to 1.5 millimeters. You've got the Windows Precision touchpad, and for a laptop of this price, this has a very smooth finish to it, and I think for the money, this has been the best trackpad that I have used on a gaming laptop at $800 or less. The panel underneath here is the LG panel. It's the same one that they've run in the Helios 300, just the basic 60 hertz unit. Came in at around 66% standard RGB on the Spider 5 Pro after calibration. It's nothing to write home about, and it's comparable to a typical G-series Dell LG panel and just about anything else out there at this price range. So link in the description below for a tutorial on me pulling this bezel off and replacing the panel with a 120 hertz unit. Very easy job, should take you about 10 minutes to do that. Now, aside from the so-so display, the rest of the laptop has been fantastic. This all plastic finish, this end of it is hardly leaving any fingerprints, and what I really like is the thermal capabilities of this chassis. And it's not so much the heatsink itself that has done a good job, but a 1050 Ti and an 8300H do not need a tremendous amount of copper in order to keep them cool. So Acer did a good job of paying respect to the thermal throttle limit of the 1050 Ti, which NVIDIA spec is 94 degrees Celsius, and they honored that with this here. Under no circumstance was I ever able to, within 2 or 3 hours of gaming on some of my most intensive titles, able to get the GPU any hotter than mid-70s. I think 72 degrees Celsius. So we're very far away from maxing that thing out, and it accepted 150 megahertz overclock no problem and 500 megahertz megahertz in the memory. So performance from this 1050 Ti, thermally and just, absolute performance was fantastic, and you shouldn't have any problems getting the most out of it with this chassis solution. The 8300H has been very unique in this. We have a lot of different acoustic and fan profile settings on here, and a lot of testing has gone into this unit. So let's start off with worst case scenario. If you go in to this laptop, do not turn on any of the cooler boost features and just leave the fan profile on automatic and then play this to your heart's content with everything uncapped, you're going to see the CPU move up into the mid 90s. Now, if you undervolt it, link in the description below for a tutorial on how to do that with 8th gen chips. Very easy to do. You're going to take off 10 degrees Celsius. If you decide to max out the fan profile, you're going to knock off another 10 degrees Celsius. And should you decide to undervolt and repaste as well, including maximum fan speed, you're going to knock off another 10 degrees Celsius. That's right, pulling out all the stops, all the bells and whistles. Now I was getting CPU temperatures that never once hit 70 degrees Celsius. It would get very close, so let's just call it 70 on the CPU and GPU respectively as a worst case scenario, uncapped, full speed, gaming for hours on end. Pretty awesome, and the highest decibel recording was 54 decibels. Now personally, what I enjoyed doing the most was the repaste, and then setting the fan curve on auto, and then honoring that undervolt that I used on a lot of these laptops, and now I was getting temperatures in the mid 70s with a laptop that was pretty darn quiet, running in the mid 40s for decibels, and this was very acceptable. I was able to play games without headphones. Yes, you could hear the laptop, but the audio piping out of this thing had no problem overpowering the acoustics from the fans, and that's kind of a good thing, right? Who doesn't want that? Now, the audio coming out of this machine, you're going to look at around mid-70s for maximum decibels, and if you crank it up too much, I did find it pretty easy to get some distortion out of the audio. So the audio itself has reasonably good highs, mids, and lows as far as balance goes, but it's nothing that is going to wow you by any means, and it's not extraordinarily loud. It does get the job done, and it has no problem overpowering the highest decibels of 54 dB out of the actual fan itself, but just don't expect amazing concert sound out of this unit, but it does do the job just fine. Other than that, I find this laptop to be a fantastic value for $799 or less at Best Buy. There's very little to be unhappy about. It does not look hideous. It looks gamery, but not over-the-top gamery. Folks, that's going to do it. I really like this laptop. Be sure to check the corners here for the teardown and, of course, the panel assembly. And this is Bob of All Trades. Peace out.